Hey guys, so we're back. We're looking at due Friday, May 27th. You're gonna have your overview video and you're gonna have your 3 folders: read, watch, do. Before we look into that, remember your instructions, what you're going over, are laid out right here in this little graphic organizer. Today we're taking on race and ethnicity in the United States. We're going to look at 3 specific groups. The white ethnic group that was present when Ellis Island and immigration really got started in the United States. This includes Germans, Italians, Irish, and Jews, African Americans, and Native Americans. We're also going to be looking at cultural appropriation and what that is exactly. Okay, so we're going to jump in here. You'll have your overview video, and then you'll have your folders. So in the read folder, you have various different readings. The first set is race and ethnicity in the United States. This reading is going to give you briefly who the white ethnic Americans are, who African Americans are, and who Native Americans are, how they got here, why they came, where they're at now, so forth and so on. Okay, and then these are articles and statistics that kind of relay more information. So I need to let you know that for statistics like African Americans and Native Americans, it's not fun to look at percentages and data, but it's important. So when you click in here, you're going to be looking at things that define a minority group in terms of data. You can't just be like, hey, I want to be a minority group. There has to be data that backs up the fact that you have less access to power, resources within the United States. Those include income, educational attainment, lifespan, medical care, housing, poverty. Obviously, to be a minority group, you have to have some form of discrimination that has existed or exists against you on an individual level and an institutional level. Okay, that's what these are doing. So for African Americans, we're looking at data that exists. Data is compiled over many, many years and through the US Census as well. So a lot of times I have to wait 10 years for brand new data, okay? But you can get the idea of why they're a minority group and where they place in comparison to the white dominant group when we're talking about race in certain areas by kind of just reading over these: education, housing, okay? This just kind of helps you understand the ins and outs of being a minority group, all right? And you have that for African Americans and Native Americans. You have an article on cultural appropriation. It defines it as well as other things. It also teaches you how to know if you're doing it. This is a wonderful article that takes on a topic that seems to just kind of pop up everywhere on social media. And a lot of times we don't actually use the term appropriately, or we're not actually talking about it in the right context, okay? This is another article that was written by a African American female, and she talks about how she sees cultural appropriation in a very white America and what it means to her. And I really, really loved this article, and I thought that you would also gain something from it. And so I wanted to put it in there for you guys to read. And then you have your 2 reading assignments. So we're going to look at race as a social construction, what that means, and neuroscience and bias. So how our brains and what we watch, how that actually comes together to create that implicit bias that we talked about last week. All right. So after you finish your read folder, then you're going to have your watch folder. Okay. And this really takes on more of African Americans and Native Americans. For me personally, when we get into these specific groups, I like to hear from people that exist in the groups and their life experiences and what they've gained, what they're trying to argue or encourage or talk about. And so you're going to notice a lot more TED Talks in the last 2 learning modules because I think they're important, okay? So you're going to want to watch these. And then this last link, Confronting Racist Objects, is your short film series 3. This one's a little bit different. So you're going to click on here and you're going to notice it's not only videos, but it's also an article. So I want you to read, watch the video, read, look at some contributions from other people, watch a video, read, watch a video, read. Okay, so there's only 3 videos in this short film series, and they're short, but I also need you to read the article to really understand what we're talking about. And we're talking about racist objects, okay? So antiques, current racist objects, the facts that they exist, and what we're doing with them. And there's 3 different plights. There's one way to look at them through the eyes of an African American woman. The other way is through the eyes of Native Americans, and how they really have to push the idea that they're not mythical. They're still here. They exist. They're a real people group, okay? And then through the eyes of an employee at an antique store that has to sell these items and doesn't quite understand why they sell. And so it's really an interesting article with 3 videos that complete up your short film series this week. In your due folder, you'll have, of course, your journal activity 3, which you should be very familiar with. Your short response questions, again, very familiar with. You're just using them in a different series, okay? Your exercise this week is to take a photo. So we're going to look at racist objects that exist in our life, okay? So you're going to find an everyday object that you believe is or could be racist, maybe convey racist ideas. You don't personally have to be offended by it. But if you could look at, if you have a friend who's African American, Native American, something to that effect, and you say, would you be offended by this? And they're like, yeah, I could kind of see that. Great item for this exercise, okay? You're going to take a photo of it, and then you're going to tell me why you feel this object could be racist in nature. Okay, and you need to do that within a minimum of 200 words. So what I want you to upload is your photo and your written explanation. You can do this in 2 ways. You can create a Word document that has the photo in it and your explanation underneath it, or you can upload the photo and the explanation separately, because when you browse local files, you can attach more than one. You just have to attach one, click open, click it again, attach another one, and click open. Okay, you can attach as many files as you want, so it's really up to you. If you can't find something around your home or your environment, go to the mall, Walmart, Target, etc. Look down some aisles, find something that you feel you could make an argument about. Again, you don't have to think it's racist, but you need to make sure that you're able to make an argument as to why it could be. Okay? Do not submit an internet photo. I do not want internet photos of the Confederate flag. All right? That is not what I want for this assignment or exercise. If I get one of those, I'll either shoot it back to you or you'll get a 0. All right? And then lastly, in your due folder, you have your connection questions. As always, they go with the story that you're reading. They need to be, complete sentences, connections to the story and material and your personal life need to be made. Demonstrate critical thinking, college level writing skills. And as always, for all of your connection questions, you've got to click this box when you submit your Word doc or PDF. So it can go through my plagiarism checker. If it doesn't, I'll kick it back to you and it will not be considered for grading. Okay, so that kind of takes you through your next set of Read Watch Do's that are due on May 27th. If you guys have any questions, let me know. See you later.